Hi, it's Gadget UK here again. As per my last video on the GP2X, I'm going to do a teardown of this just so I can have a look inside, see if I can work out what's wrong with it. When it's cold, as I showed in the last video, you get weird sort of graphical problems and stuff with it. So while I'm here, I'll just show you some of the fittings and connectors and all that sort of stuff. That's your external connector. That's where you can plug in the what's it called, the video expander thing, you know, so you can get composite out and video out and stuff, I think. Yeah, it is, and you can also connect up like a base station, like docking station type thing for it. It's just a PCB. I think you can get a boxed version of it or something. It gives you like USB ports or stuff and various other things. So just close that flap. There's another one of these little rubber flaps here. I'm not that keen on these little rubber flaps actually. They're cheap design, aren't they? You've got a little micro USB port there that I think you can connect that up to a PC. In fact, you can. That's I remember using that because I used the FTP on there to connect directly to the firmware. That, you don't know the firmware, but the flash ROM that on there, so you can actually FTP to and from it. You can use it as an FTP server. DC power jack. So just close that up. 3.5mm headphone socket. Obviously SD card slot. I don't think it takes HD ones. It's just standard SD cards. Up to, well, this is a 4 gig, I think it'll probably take an 8 gig, or I'm not sure. You need to look on the wiki, and then your power buttons on the side, and obviously you've got some trigger buttons up here. That perhaps wasn't evident from the previous video there. You've got these left and right trigger buttons, and then your volume, which is 2 buttons effectively, and then you've got your select to start buttons and A, B, X, Y. So you've got a fair few buttons on there, enough for most emulation needs anyway, at least. So just take the back off. So to get inside this, it's just these 4 screws here, I think, and then got to just sort of very carefully pull the thing apart. So as you can see, we're in there now. I'm going to try and use this little magnifier, see if I can get you a zoom in. I might be able to go on super macro. We'll see how close I can get to this before it loses focus. That's not about as good as it's going to get, I think. So yeah, you can see we've got a QFN type chip there. I can't really read it from here. What else have we got? Little net chip. That's marked net chip down there. I guess that's right next to the USB, so that's going to be a USB controller, I would think. The interesting thing I spotted straight away here that's probably going to have a bearing on this is surface mounted electrolytics. If these are of low quality, which I suspect they probably are because of the pricing of these things and the fact that, you know, they were made very, very cheap for what they are, it's going to be something like that that's causing me my problem. Could always be a dry joint on one of these little quad flat packs. I mean, look at the size of that, that's tiny. Compare that to my thumb. It's looks very much like that Dream. Those 2 packages, actually, that one and that one, look very much like that SAM 2195 QFN44 package. That looks like it's a QFN44 actually. That's not, it's obviously a quad flat pack. There's a few more pins I think on there, and you've got like a TSOP type looking chip here, squashed down a bit. Samsung, so that's going to be your flash RAM, flash ROM rather. So your OS and everything's on there, and that's where your storage is. So let's see if we can get this board. I don't think we'll be able to take this board out further. Yeah, I can actually. There's a screw there, so let's just get that out. And we'll have a look on the other side. This has been out of here before. I'll tell you why. When they manufactured these, they wired the speakers around the wrong way. I think the speakers were out of phase. One's around the wrong way. It was a common sort of fault, so I took this to pieces when I got it and reversed one of the wires around just to make sure they were correct. And it did sound different, noticeably different after I'd done that. So I'm not quite sure how you get this board out now. I've got to be careful. I don't want to do any damage to this. There's that one screw. Is there any other screw anywhere? I suspect this comes off actually. Yeah, it does. This whole plastic piece here comes off. Not quite sure how. Yeah, so this plastic piece comes away, and you can see that if I zoom out a bit. I'm going to pull this off the board, obviously, but you don't get your power switch and stuff snagged. Then we should have a bit more access to the board. Still not coming out. I think this bit's holding it at the front here. Stereo speakers, that's unheard of really in a portable. I think it is, yeah it is. snagged here. It's like that whole thing there needs to come off or something. Is it going to come out like that? Gotta be careful I don't break this. Yeah, there we go. Finally, out. So, got a little flat flex there. I'll just very carefully disconnect that, I think. Is it one of these ones that comes upwards, or is it? Yeah. So it's one of those ones that lifts upwards and then your cable will come out and you can carefully move it away, so that's good. Put that away. And there you go, you can see the heart of the machine now. So this MMSP2 is your main chip, your chipset on it, this Magic Eyes, which I believe was sort of, it's like a general purpose multimedia chip, designed for like DVD players, home entertainment systems, you know, that sort of thing really. So it's a pretty powerful chip. I don't know whether I think your ARM processors are actually built into the chip itself. I could be wrong. It could well be that that's the ARM chip. I'm not sure. Let's have a quick look. I can't tell. A couple more chips there. Those are RAM chips, aren't they? They look like SRAMs or something. I think I've got some of those spare actually. Yeah, so I'll just carefully inspect the board now with a magnifier and just see what I can find. Well, I couldn't see anything at all on the board. There's plenty of surface mount electrolytics on there. Some of them are in those little black, you can probably just see one there where my finger is, little black like packages with a little, you know, white indicator there for the negative lead. But as you can see there, just switching it back on after it's been off for several hours, it's doing the whole graphical thing again. So what I'm going to do is wait for this to warm up, and then I'm going to go around with a freezer spray and start freezing some of these electrolytics just to see if the problem comes back after it's been frozen. I suspect if I got hairdryer onto this now, this would probably be okay. There is, just underneath this ribbon here, which I'll show you in a minute once I've just connected it, is a BGA chip, and that worries me a lot. That Magic Eyes, you know, the main pro chip on here is BGA mounting, which pain in the arse. I don't think it's going to be that. I do think it's going to be capacitor, at least that's what I'm hoping. So just leave this to warm up for 5 to 10 minutes and then I'll get the freezer spray onto the job. Well, the good news here is I've sprayed the main BGA. As you can see, it's still booting. Many of the caps and things on the top part of the board here and it's fine. So on that side of the board I don't think we've got a problem, and I suspect that at least the BGA's ruled out the BGA, which is a few good news. But all of these are icy cold now and it's still okay. Difficulty now is I'm going to have to turn the board over in order to spray the other side, so I'll just do that carefully. We'll just switch it off. I'll try and put the screen where the screen's supposed to go, which I think is there, like that. I think I'll try and support this without, I think I might just use this piece of plastic actually, just to stop it from shorting out on the case there. We'll just, this is going to be really hard. I think I'm going to have to try and, I'm not sure how to do this. I think if I put it in a position like that, I'll just move the camera around a bit. And I'll flip the camera screen so I can see it. That's just about viewable. So whilst it's on there now, I'll just spray very carefully in very small areas. Just see if anything happens. Sometimes it's worth disconnecting the power and reconnecting it just to see. Clearly, it's still working at the moment. Is that the orange boot screen? That's on the loading screen, isn't it? So try spraying something else. I think that's the video chip I've just sprayed. Let's try the caps around that area. I've sprayed quite a lot there around that area where I think the video encoder is. So just connect power again, see what happens. That's looking alright. Let's try the caps on the other end. I'll just wait for it to show the orange loading screen again. There we go. Nothing down that end. This is very worrying. I mean, I've sprayed pretty much everything around that whole bloody area and it's still working. Makes me wonder if it's not a cap. Maybe a dry joint or something. It could well be that BGA chip, because when I first sprayed it I did get something unusual going on with the BGA chip. So let's just try putting it back down that way again like this. Let's give that BGA chip a blast, a real blast. Let's just move that there like that. Disconnect the power back on. Not sure what to make of this. It's mysterious to say the least. Let's try some of these caps again. Got something there. I think it was that cap. When I first froze that cap I did get this weird behaviour and I started thinking, I wonder if it's that cap. It's not coming back on now, is it? Let's just try and warm that up. It's interesting, we've got a power light now but nothing else on. I hope that freezer spray's not took something out. Because it leaves a bit of moisture. That's the only problem with this approach. Could well be something shorting out now. The board is really cold, it really is. Might have to get the hairdryer onto this, I think. Right, so it's back on again. I just heated this area just for several seconds with the hairdryer and it's back on. So let's just try that again. See if it's that cap. I don't think it's that cap, to be fair. Something else around there. There we go. I wonder if there's something loose. Let's just try. See, it went off then, do you see that? Is it booting? Seems to be booting again. something here. There's a component here, something's around here. See the little light going on off there? Little bit of a dry joint. I think we've got a dry joint. Yeah, I'm going to inspect that area there. Right, well I've reflowed the components around this area here. All of these little resistors and caps. When I was playing around with the area over here, it's susceptible to touch. You know, you touch that area and obviously the capacitance in your fingers interferes with the circuit. So that was what was causing the problem there. But here, I was just tapping around the board with something that's non-conductive, and it was just like, I think one component there, resistor or something, seemed to be causing the problem. So it looked alright, but yeah, I've reflowed it, and it's been switched off for a good 20 minutes while I've been reflowing and stuff and cleaning up that area around there. Powered it back on first time. So I'm going to reassemble it, I think, now. And I've cleaned the area up there, I'll just reassemble it and just give it a try for a few days and see how I get on. When you come to put this front piece on, this little curved bit here, you're going to get brain ache like I did. It was really difficult to get on. The best advice I can give you is to put the board in first. Make sure these connectors, the speaker connectors, are tucked in, because there's a little gap in the edge of the board cut out for the wires, and they just snugly fit in so that they're within the profile of the board, if you like. And then just slide this thing on, and don't worry too much. Just bend it out a little bit at the edges there so you can get it on one side, and then it clips. You've got to make sure it's clipped at the front. It actually clips in on the front there so that it's snug with it, and that's now nice and flat, and as you can see, everything's lined up, buttons lined up, sockets are lined up there. So yeah, I'll be out of the way. I should be able to screw the board back down, put the buttons back on, and get the back on. Right, so this is 2 or 3 days later. I'll show you. I'll just switch it on. Yeah, that graphical corruption thing you saw there, that's normal. I'll show you, it does that. They do that every time. You get like blue lines and things on the screen. Well, when it's cold, that's normal. So it is totally fully functioning now, and I've powered this on and off probably about 10 times after it's been left for 2, 3, 4 hours or overnight, and it's fine every time. It's rock solid. I've been playing it and it works fine, and the battery problem's gone as well at the same time. The red light comes on to start with, as it's supposed to when you first switch it on, and then it's fine. So solved 2 problems just from soldering that, what I think was a dry joint in one of those SMD resistors. It didn't look like it, but yeah, I mean, I did give the board a good sort of tap and various areas and touched it and put some pressure on, and there was nothing after I resoldered that joint. So I think there were five resistors, as I showed on the video. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.